In this video, I'm going to teach you how to draw a hyper-realistic eye. Let's get started. Down in the description, I have provided links to the drawing reference, outline, and the art supplies used in this video. Other than that, let's get started. After drawing the outline, I started by shading a base layer on the skin around the eye using a HB pencil. I shaded using back and forth strokes very close together, and adding a few more layers on top so that the shade is smoother. And finally, I blend it to give it a smoother finish, but be sure to take your time when blending, otherwise you might have darker and lighter portions in the shade, and that doesn't generally look very good. And to create a background and to make the eye stand out, I shaded the background around the eye using a 8B pencil. If you have a darker pencil grade, I recommend you use that, and of course I blend it using a blending stump. Now, moving on, I shaded this portion at the end of the eyelid using a B-grade pencil, blend that using the brush, and extended the shade using the dirty blending stump. Then using the same B pencil, I shaded a dark to light gradient on the skin where the lashes are. After adding a few more highlights and finishing up the left-hand side, I used the 8B pencil again, and I outlined the entire eye, then shaded the right side of the inner part, but extended the shade using the blending stump as well. Now afterwards I used a pencil eraser, which I sharpened very sharply, so that we could get the details in well. I recommend you use a mono zero eraser as well, but what I did is I created kind of a pattern which would be smaller details in the eye. Then I quickly shaded the small portion using a 3B pencil, and moving on to some more detail. Now this is where it gets a bit hard, because when drawing these details you need to use the right techniques. So when you have to use a mono zero eraser and keep the edges sharp so that you can get a fine and thin line. And other than that, you really just need experience, and you have to look at the reference back and forth and put it on the paper. As for the edge here, in the dark part here, I erased in a few more details there, and also shaded up top using the 8B pencil. Moving on to the white of the eye, I created a light gradient using the HB pencil, and this will give the eyeball more depth and give it that 3D effect. After adding a few more highlights, I finally shaded this part down here using the 3B grade pencil. And as for the top eyelid, using the mono zero eraser, I carefully and precisely use the eraser to draw reflections in the skin. You should stop about halfway because the eyelashes will cover up the highlights, and from there you have to very carefully draw the eyelashes, and you must use a very sharp 8B pencil to do so. I took a quick moment to add veins in the eye. I used a very sharp B pencil and applied very little pressure when drawing the veins to make it very light. As for how to draw them, it's relatively random, but every single vein is connected in a massive pattern of veins. Moving back toward the top, I darkened the eyelid using the 8B pencil, and after adding a few more highlights, I immediately started drawing the texture on the skin. I used the mono zero eraser to add a few lines above the eyelid, as well as erased all the surrounding space with a kneadable eraser. This makes it so that the skin is not totally white, but adds depth and texture to the skin. Afterwards, I continued drawing the eyelashes using the 8B pencil. If you have a darker pencil grade, such as a 9 or 10B, that would be better. As for the techniques, you mostly have to look back and forth at the reference, as well as if you pay close attention to how the eyelashes are designed, you'll see that there are large lashes, and then a few smaller ones, then large ones. It's kind of a up and down kind of design, as you can see me draw here. Going back to the skin textures, I finally used the electric eraser to draw the skin texture here by creating small dots very close together, and that's that. And finally, I trimmed the edges on the paper. I took something to cut on, grabbed my knife, and cut the edges of the paper. And that is how you draw a hyper-realistic eye. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and consider subscribing to my channel if you enjoy the content. Other than that, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next video.